All right, it's Patrick Duff from Rabble Rouser Media here with Ian Smith, the infamous Ian Smith, and it's really nice to meet you, brother. And I just want to let you know a little bit like why I decided I was going to kind of figure out who you were, because you're like to me you're kind of a mystery. You know, you popped up in the middle of a pandemic when I'm locked in my business in Philadelphia that was shut down from the pandemic. That I had to board up. Yeah, I was not actually. You know,
you
it was
had to
interesting.
board up to protect it.
I had to board up to protect it. You know,
that's a whole nother story.
So, so you know, and I considered myself more left at that point than anything. I mean, I've always been very liberal in my ways, but at that point, it's oh my God, like my freedoms are being taken, and I consider myself very much a freedom lover.
Yeah.
So first, I want to say thank you for standing up, but I wanted to get to know you before that, because that's an event that was like, you know, all of a sudden you pop up, you're a big dude, you're with a beard, you got crazy people in your parking lot, people doing push-ups out there, you know. It was something
Those were some good days, man.
It was something that people, was a sight to be seen, right? So, but the person of Ian Smith, and a lot of people know that you actually had an incident happen in 2007 where you had an auto accident where where a person died. You spent some years in jail. We'll get to that, but I wanted to know first, you know, where did you grow up? How many brothers, sisters you had, and you know, well, maybe what did your parents do when you were growing up, and what kind of inspirations did you have from them?
Yeah. So I was born in Philadelphia, in Tacony neighborhood of Philadelphia. Single mom. She moved me over to Delanco, which is actually where I live now. I live in the house that I grew up in, or at least started my early childhood in. I was in Delanco.
Mom still there?
No. I'm in the house now. Mom lives in Florida. So lived in Delanco till about, I guess, third grade, so whatever age that is. And then I moved to Mount Laurel, where I spent the rest of my years and graduated high school from Lenape in 2004. Like I said, single mom. She worked her ass off. You know, she really, really worked her ass off.
What'd she do?
Put herself through school while I was growing up. You know, I had my grandmother kind of helped her out with things, and at the time she was married and we lived in Mount Laurel. So she put herself through school, started at Burlington County Community College, became valedictorian of her class, graduated from Rutgers, went on to teach math. She's a calculus teacher. She actually is just retiring this year. So she worked really hard and didn't grow up with like everything, but everything I needed, I guess, if that makes sense.
What's interesting is I've seen some people online make comments about you having a rich father.
Who I haven't spoken to in years. My dad was never in my life, got rich, was not rich by any stretch of the imagination.
When he was with your mother, you mean?
Yeah, and even until kind of recently.
And when was the separation point between your mother and him?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think they made it to a year, or I think it was like maybe 2 years of marriage. My father was a raging alcoholic, and just sort of like a derelict. Never was around. Was out to the bar till God knows what hours of the night. My father's an immigrant. He actually came over right before.
Where from?
England.
England. Okay.
Yeah. So he came over for whatever. Met my mom, and you know things happened quick. They got married, and very quickly my mom realized that this was not the life that she was going to give her son. So she moved me to Jersey, divorced, all that good stuff. Like I said, we were in Delanco, and then...
Did you have any other father figures in your life?
Some, yeah. You know, I had a stepfather. My mom didn't remarry, but called my stepfather. They were together for 15 years.
There you go. What was his name?
John. John was certainly a better father than mine was. My dad was just uninterested when I was younger.
And have you reunited with your original father at all?
No.
Ever had no conversations ever?
No, I haven't spoken to him.
Does he know you're doing what you're doing now, you think?
I assume so.
How does that feel?
Kind of hard to miss. It's you know, it's weird, but it's something I've gotten so used to.
Yeah.
You know, like he wasn't a big part of my life growing up. And I made a choice, like in my teenage years, kind of stop going over every other weekend or whatever the arrangement was, and we kind of grew up.
So you were seeing him?
Yeah, it was every other weekend,
Understood.
but it was you know here's some video games. You know, I'm gonna drink a 30-pack of beer.
Wow.
Summers, I remember, I actually had some good summers with him. They would go down to like outside of LBI where all those campgrounds are. And but again, it was like, hey, go play with some kids. We're gonna get drunk.
And what about your? You played sports?
Did not play any sports. That's a common misconception. People assume because I'm into fitness now that I always was. I was a scrawny runt.